Dear friends, God has led you to today's video because He desires to reveal a powerful and deeply important truth about the lives of chosen ones. Have you ever found yourself feeling alone, without close friends or meaningful relationships? Do not worry or despair, for this solitude is not a sign of something wrong, but rather a vital part of the divine plan that God is unfolding in your life. Let us take this time to reflect and walk together through 7 profound and surprising reasons why chosen ones often find themselves alone, without friends or romantic relationships, and how we can discover both comfort and purpose in this sacred journey. One significant and often overlooked reason why chosen ones experience loneliness is due to the intense energy depletion that comes from interacting with those around them. When you are chosen by God, you carry a powerful, radiant energy within you, a divine light that comes from your unwavering faith. You may often ask inner strength, why do I feel so isolated? Is not only a reflection of your spiritual depth, life and purpose, but also a beacon that naturally draws others toward you. People are instinctively attracted to your presence, sensing comfort. Your divine energy is meant to uplift, inspire. There is a powerful story that many come into your life can also result in emotional and spiritual concept. Sometimes without even realizing. A woman who had suffered for 12 long years drawn to the flame reached out. People are drawn to your inner light, Jesus' garment, healing, encouragement, the moment she did, this constant giving can leave Jesus you feeling exhausted that power and emotion out from him and asked, "Who touched my clothes?" As a chosen one, you may often encounter similar experiences. Those who seek your strength, your wisdom, and your peace. Though your purpose is to help and heal, it is important to recognize that such moments call for rest, renewal, and reconnecting with God. In order to sustain your divine calling, it is essential to surround yourself with people who match your spiritual and emotional frequency. These are the individuals who do not merely take from your energy, but also pour back into your spirit. Relationships like these are rare and sacred, built not just on shared experiences, but on a deep, mutual, spiritual resonance. This rarity is one reason many chosen ones find themselves walking alone. They seek not just company, but meaningful soul connections that take time, faith, and God's guidance to discover. When you feel emotionally drained or spiritually empty, return to God. Seek Him in prayer, in meditation, and in the quiet moments of your soul. Let Him fill you with His profound reason for this. Your loneliness is not evidence of neglect. The deep inner healing. It is a divinely orchestrated moment for deeper intimacy with God. Every soul carries wounds, trust His timing, scars from and know that your light still shines brightly, even in solitude in adulthood. These are not always visible, but their pain is real and persistent. They influence how we interact with the world, how we view ourselves, and how we relate to others. Chosen ones are especially sensitive to these wounds, which makes them yearn for a safe, protected space in which they can truly heal. It is in this very loneliness that God crafts a sacred sanctuary, a place where your heart can rest, your spirit can be mended, and your soul can hear His whisper. This is not an abandonment, but a holy invitation. Think of Joseph. Betrayed and sold into slavery by his own brothers, he endured years of solitude and hardship. But it was in those very trials that God refined him, strengthened him, and prepared him for a destiny far greater than he could have imagined. Your solitude is a similar preparation. God is gently healing your broken places, reshaping your character, and laying the foundation for the mission He has called you to fulfill. Let Him work in your heart. Let the quiet be a place of transformation. Remember that you are not forgotten. You are being prepared. Chosen ones are often set apart because they possess a spiritual and emotional depth that is rare and difficult for most people to understand. You may find yourself offering guidance, comfort, and inspiration to others, serving as a lighthouse in someone else's storm. Yet when you face your own trials, you may find that few are able to support or even comprehend the depths of your inner world. This imbalance can lead to a unique and sometimes painful form of loneliness. Even in moments of outward success or public recognition, this inner void may remain. You are called to dig deep within yourself, to find your strength not from human applause, but from God's quiet, steady presence. This spiritual self-reliance is a vital part of your growth. Just as missionaries travel to distant lands with a calling so unique that few around them can relate, your spiritual journey may take you to places where the only understanding soul is God Himself. Still, the path is not without its rewards. As you journey inward, you become more attuned to your purpose and calling. You learn to lean on God and to cherish the rare, genuine connections that do come your way. Those who see and understand you on a soul level. These connections may be few, but they are rich in meaning and spiritual nourishment. They take time to find, but once found, they form the kind of fellowship that strengthens and uplifts both hearts. In certain seasons, God may intentionally allow the absence of close relationships so that we can learn to trust Him entirely. Friendships and companionship are blessings, but they can sometimes become a substitute for God in our lives. We may begin to rely on the comfort of others rather than seeking divine wisdom and peace. God knows this, and, in His mercy, may lead us into solitude to bring our attention back to Him. We see a powerful example of this in the life of Job, a man known for his righteousness and faith. When Job lost everything, his wealth, his children, and his health, he was left in a place of profound loneliness. His friends came, but their words brought little comfort. It was not through them that Job found healing, but through his honest, raw prayers to God. In his suffering, Job encountered the greatness of God and was eventually restored and blessed even more than before. Sometimes God creates these moments of isolation not as punishment, but as a necessary redirection. He is drawing you closer, helping you realize that human love, while precious, is fleeting and imperfect. Only in Him will you find lasting peace, unwavering support, and true identity. These periods of loneliness teach the chosen ones to build a relationship with God that is unshakable and eternal. God also allows seasons of solitude to prepare you for roles of great responsibility and impact. Before stepping into positions of leadership, purpose, or influence, chosen ones often undergo a time of separation. This is not just to test their faith, but to refine their character, sharpen their discernment, and deepen their reliance on God. Joseph is once again a perfect example. Before he became second in command in Egypt, he endured betrayal, slavery, and imprisonment. Yet through each trial, God was preparing him for a greater calling. The solitude Joseph experienced was the very ground where his future leadership was formed. You too may be in a season of waiting and wondering, but know that God wastes nothing. Every moment of silence, every unanswered prayer, every lonely night is part of your preparation. He is building you into someone strong enough to carry out His divine mission. When the time is right, He will open doors, bring the right people into your life, and place you exactly where you need to be. Trust in the process. Embrace the solitude not as a curse, but as a sacred classroom. Let God teach you, heal you, and prepare you. You are being shaped for something extraordinary, and your loneliness is part of the divine blueprint. Even when no one else sees your struggle, know that God sees, understands, and is with you every step of the way. The chosen ones today may often find themselves feeling isolated, without close friends or relationships, but it is crucial never to forget that this loneliness is not a conclusion. It is a new beginning. It is a sacred time for you to concentrate on personal growth, deepen your faith, and prepare for the remarkable plans God has designed for your life. Reflect on the life of David, who eventually became the king of Israel. Before he ascended to the throne, David endured many years of fleeing from Saul, hiding in caves, and facing numerous hardships. Yet, it was during those difficult times that David learned to rely fully on God. From that reliance, he emerged as a compassionate and devoted king. As David wrote in Psalm 23:4, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." On your spiritual path, you may feel societal pressure from family, friends, or even yourself to live a life filled with friends, relationships, and outward success. But remember, God has a distinct and unique plan for each individual. Not everyone is called to take the easy or common path. Some are chosen to walk a unique journey where they will fulfill roles that only they are prepared to undertake. Loneliness, then, becomes an opportunity, a season to ready yourself for the great challenges and responsibilities that lie ahead. When you look back on your life, you will recognize that every hardship and trial was not in vain, but carried profound meaning and contributed to your true success and joy. Romans 8:28 reminds us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." Every moment of solitude, every difficulty you endure, is part of a larger divine plan tailored specifically for you. Trust this process, hold fast to your faith, and know that you are being shaped for a brilliant and meaningful future. Another important reason for loneliness among chosen ones is God's wisdom in guiding us away from unhealthy relationships. In his infinite understanding, God often steers us to distance ourselves from connections that could harm our spiritual growth. As it is written in 2 Corinthians 6:14, "Do not be yoked together with unbelievers. For what do righteousness and wickedness have in common? Or what fellowship can light have with darkness?" The Apostle Paul encourages us to choose close relationships with those who share our faith and devotion to God. Our closest bonds should be with people who strengthen our spiritual walk. This does not mean we are to isolate ourselves or reject those who do not yet know God. Rather, we are called to open our hearts and reach out to them, as friendships can often become natural bridges for sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. However, there are times when we become entangled in relationships with non-believers that threaten our spiritual health. In such cases, God may lead us to step back, even if that results in loneliness. This separation is not punishment, it is divine protection. The Bible story of Samson and Delilah serves as a clear example. Samson, chosen by God to be the judge of Israel, was drawn to Delilah, a woman who did not share his faith. Delilah took advantage of Samson's trust and ultimately weakened his strength, leading to his capture and blindness. This story warns us of the dangers of forming close ties with those who do not share our spiritual values, and emphasizes the importance of listening to God's guidance in choosing friends and partners. When God guides us away from unhealthy relationships, he is protecting us from spiritual harm. Though we may feel lonely during these times, it is also an opportunity for God to draw us closer to himself. In this solitude, God teaches us to place our complete trust in him and to find comfort, peace, and joy in our relationship with him alone. There is also the reason of separation from worldly concerns. Chosen ones frequently experience loneliness because they are called to prioritize spiritual values above worldly desires. When you focus on spiritual truths, things like material wealth, fame, or social status lose their grip on your heart. Consider Daniel's example in the Bible. Taken captive in Babylon along with his friends, Daniel chose not to defile himself by eating the king's rich food and wine. Instead, he maintained his spiritual integrity despite the luxuries and temptations surrounding him. Daniel's decision was not only an act of loyalty to God, but a powerful statement that spiritual values surpass worldly pleasures. Choosing to live by spiritual priorities often means making decisions that differ from the common culture. This path can lead to loneliness. You might avoid consumerist lifestyles, reject the pursuit of wealth or fame, and instead invest your time in prayer, meditation, and serving others. While those who choose this route may sometimes feel isolated, this separation is a necessary one. It protects your spiritual integrity. Rather than viewing this isolation as abandonment, embrace it as a source of strength in your spiritual journey. By distancing yourself from worldly distractions, you gain clearer insight into life's deeper truths and purposes. This loneliness allows you to focus on building a profound relationship with God and discovering authentic spiritual values. As chosen ones, it is important to balance participation in society with maintaining your spiritual integrity. This does not mean complete withdrawal from the world, but being intentional and discerning in all your interactions, upholding godly principles in every situation. Romans 12:2 reminds us, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." This transformation happens when we separate ourselves from worldly influences and allow God to mold us into the people He intends us to be, leading to a rich and meaningful life. Through this journey, we come to understand why chosen ones often find themselves alone, without friends or relationships. It is not abandonment, but divine guidance, healing, and preparation for a greater mission. Loneliness is the sacred space where we can hear God's voice most clearly, draw on inner strength, and deepen our connection with Him. If you have ever experienced loneliness, know that God is always near, loving you. The challenges you face are stepping stones, designed to make you stronger and help you shine more brightly in His light. If this message has brought encouragement and inspiration to your heart, please support this ministry by liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting so we can continue to share meaningful Christian encouragement with more souls. Thank you for joining me in this reflection. Always trust God's plan and remember that every moment of loneliness carries profound purpose. I look forward to sharing more sacred and motivational messages with you in our next gathering. May God bless you abundantly.